In this video, we're going to show you how to set up preference cards to track your surgeon preferences and key customer data. So first, navigate to the directory and pull up the preference cards page. Here you can see the preference cards that you've created already. You can see the physician that they pertain to, as well as the procedure that they're pertaining to. So you can see what level of specificity we're getting to here with these preference cards. You may have multiple for a given physician depending on what procedure is being done. If you need to create a new one, you can click New Preference Card in the upper right corner, or you can click on an existing one if you want to use that to build off of. But we're going to start from scratch. So click New Preference Card, then enter a name for this preference card. So select the procedure that we're going to be entering preferences for, then enter the physicians. You are allowed to add multiple physicians to one preference card. And then enter any notes. So add all of that context, all of that tribal knowledge that is worth it to enter here. You know, if someone is ever going to be covering a case with one of your surgeons, you'd want them to know all of the key details. And then this also helps you make sure you remember while also sharing that key context with your manufacturer so everyone's on the same page and learning from this information coming from your customers. Because in a lot of times this is product feedback. And then we have another section here if you want to add additional context. You have a ton of space to write here though. So, you know, if you run into issues, I've not yet reached the end of the character limit, but you have 2 fields to enter the surgeon preferences on, and then click Next. And here we're going to add what items belong on this preference card. So what items does this surgeon require for this procedure? We want to make sure we add those here so that we can request them and make sure they're transferred to us every time we do a case for them. So we'll click Add New. We'll search by manufacturer. And then we'll start adding those inventory items. So we can select products or sets if kind of like an inventory request. This allows us to select whole product lines. So maybe he needs a whole spine set, or we can search loose devices. Click Next. Search the product line to narrow things down. And then we can start selecting our devices. So just select each device that belongs here. You can start typing ahead to search this drop-down menu faster if you know what catalog number you're looking for. And then update the quantities as needed. And once everything looks good here, click Create. And that'll add those devices to our preference card. I'll also go back and then go forward to show you. I'm also going to remove these devices to show you that you can add these devices from a bill of materials. So if you've already created a bill of materials matching a surgeon's particular custom preferences, maybe you manage a surgical tray specifically to their custom preferences, and you built a BOM to help you manage that, you can use those bills of materials to build the preference card. So here we go, custom tray, bill of materials. I'll select that, select my manufacturer, and click Submit, and it adds the devices from the bill of materials for me, just like that. Then I can make any modifications I need, and click the checkbox to add. All right, I'd also just like to show you that once you've created your preference cards, you can actually use a preference card to build an inventory request. So if you have a case coming up where you have a preference card for that surgeon, you're coming to request the inventory so you can cover that case, you can just select the manufacturer and use the preference card you built to easily add those devices to the request without having to go through all the work. So that's how you can easily set up preference cards to manage your customer data. Tune back in for more educational information on Beacon. Please tune back in to our next video on Beacon to learn more.